is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks being rumored to try to make a move to get Steven Adams from OKC. We don't know what they'll have to give up. I'm just going to basically talk about the rumor and talk about how these two can fit when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks and obviously the Thunder making this trade, because we have heard that they wanted to trade Steven Adams for a little bit because of them trying to go into a rebuilding mode is what people speculate. And if you can pick up some picks and get some talent that's young and you can develop, OKC is going in that direction, even though they are currently in the 7th place in the Western Conference. They still competing. They're still going out there to win games. But we know that eventually they're going to have to retool this roster, because I don't really see them getting over the hump unless they make a trade out of nowhere like they're usually known for in OKC. OKC is willing to take gambles. Sam Presti and the organization is willing to take gambles. They're willing to stay patient, and they're willing to make moves that make sense for them. And that's what they have done over the last 10 years of being there since, what, 09, 08, 08, 09, and they have continued to do that. So I think they'd be open to trading Steven Adams. He is part of one of the longest tenured Oklahoma City Thunder still in the game, and he has been one of their more important pieces. His ability to set screens and do dribble handoffs and roll to the basket and utilize his floater to have a soft touch. Even if he can't get all the way to the basket, he can use that to get decent high percentage shots. And if he is at the basket, he can catch lobs and finish around the rim. And he has always been a solid, not a great, not elite, but a solid rim protector throughout his career, being able to rotate, being very mobile and long and athletic, can really contest shots and really can be a physical interior guy on the inside. And I think that's exactly what Atlanta will need, even though I feel like Steven Adams' contract is a little bit too much. It does fit exactly what they need. And then you look at the fact that if they keep John Collins, which it looks like they will, he's a guy that can knock down threes to a certain extent. He's a guy that can knock down mid-range. So he's not a center that has to play inside. He's a center that can knock down shots from the outside, and that's something that he's still working on and continuing to improve on as he has got, better and better every single season, and he is getting closer to returning to the Hawks. But I also think it's a good fit for little Trae Young, because he's a guy that likes to get the space. He's a guy that he wants to get his defender off balance. He wants to get his defender, behind him, or he wants to use his first step to go into that floater, but he also wants that option to lob it. He wants that option to kick out. And with having John Collins out there, you have a guy that can be at the top of the key or at the three-point line that can be a decent stretch guy that can knock down that three ball, like we seen them do with Dwayne Dedman last year. But not only that, you still have that threat inside for the dump off or the lob, and just in case Trae Young ends up making the center go up, if they move up to contest, then you can always throw the lob to Steven Adams, or just go around. Just go straight to the paint and dump it off to him for a dunk or a layup, or even if he get fouled, it's free throws. And the goal is to score a basket, no matter how you get it. And Trae Young is one of the best wizards in the game, being able to keep his dribble alive, being able to find guys, whether he's in the air or whether he's probing, and the fact that he's always moving and he has shooters around him, but he also have the bigs around him. It just gives him more options on the court to really make a decision that can really help them score that possession, which is very important, especially when you're not a great defensive team and you're getting somebody that can really anchor that defense and that is legitimately sized for the position, unlike John Collins, and a guy that's willing to be selfless and does whatever he needs to do for the team. You got to remember, Steven Adams is a guy that gave up rebounds for Russell Westbrook. He gave up shots and took less shots for the benefit of the team. He's a winner. He's willing to do the things you need him to do and what you ask him to do for the betterment of the team. And that's important because when you're paying him this much money to fix a big problem on his team, which is rim protection, which is helping rotate and being able to switch and guard on the perimeter, because John Collins is not a great perimeter defender or interior defender, but you have a guy that can be solid on both of those ends, even though it's going to cost a steep price to get him. What else do the Atlanta Hawks need? They got the wings. They got Cam Reddish. They got DeAndre Hunter as guys in the future, and that don't even include Herter and the other guys that they have on this roster. Plus, they have the bigs already with Alex Len and John Collins, but neither one of them play great defense, and neither one of them are consistent enough to really be a threat in that interior paint. You know, John Collins was a good, compatible player with Trae Young, being able to be hit in the mid-range hit at the three-point line, but also his ability to roll to the rim and get finishes. The only problem is he gave up so much points on the other side of the court that it just was pointless. Yeah, you can score and you can have one of the best offenses in the game, but if you can't get stops when it matters most, or you can't get quality shots throughout the whole fourth quarter, those are games that you will give away, and those are the reasons why Atlanta is in the situation that they're in. They do struggle closing games. They do struggle executing and getting good shots throughout the whole game and even in the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter is all about closing out the game. Whether if you have the lead or not, your goal should be to finish the game and get the W. The Hawks have struggled in overtime even the last 2 years, including last year, which was their first year with Trae Young and John Collins. Even though he missed a lot of games, we've seen the potential of how great they can be as a dynamic duo, but we still see that in summer league, I mean not in summer league, but in preseason, in the beginning of the season, that they really was going to be terrible defensively, and they have been. But it also fixes their rebound problems, as Steven Adams have never been known as a great rebounder in the NBA. But this is a guy that's giving you 9.9 rebounds currently, and that will really help when John Collins come back. You'll have two guys that can be a beast on the boards and complement each other offensively and defensively, but it also make you more solid in that area. And like I said, Steven Adams is a threat, 15 foot and in, and that's something that you will have to worry about only if you change the lineup without John Collins. But you can even attempt to play a little bit smaller because of Steven Adams' athleticism, mobility, allowing you to put Herter and other guys on the floor with him and just have three guys that can shoot, and Trae Young at the top of the key trying to figure out who to pass to, how to collapse the defense, how to probe, which he mastered. But you still will have that guy that's a threat at the basket, and that's something that you see with Chris Paul, his ability to come off the screen and knock down that fadeaway mid-range jumper, or just float it, or just dump it off to Steven Adams for a dunk or a floater. And that's a tough thing to guard, and that's really has helped the offense of OKC being a threat, having a guy that's a threat on that interior, but also having those weapons on the perimeter, and the fact that if they guard you, they gotta respect you as a shooter to knock down that mid range or floater. Which if they don't, they get an easy opportunity, and if they do, Trae Young gets an easy opportunity, and that's what made them such a tough duo last year, because you had to give something up. Um, when you played against Atlanta, and they were so good of knowing where each other was at, knowing what each other was doing, that it really was an unstoppable two-man game with him and John Collins. But like I said, you're upgrading the rebounding and the defense of your team. We know that Alex Len is a solid, serviceable center, but he's not a defender. He's not the greatest rebounder. In December, he's getting more minutes, but he's only giving you 7 rebounds and 12 points. Steven Adams is doing better than that already. Plus, like I said, he is a significantly better guy that has better IQ, better understanding, and better rim protection. So I really want to see how they approach this trade. Do they treat Steven Adams as an option? Do they feel like he's going to be a priority when it comes to acquiring him and trying to get him while he's available. And then it all ultimately come down, what do OKC want? What direction is they trying to go in? What can the Hawks really offer them outside of picks, which they have abundance of picks because of Anthony Davis? Not, I mean, the Russell Westbrook trade, they got picks. In the Paul George trade, they got a lot of picks, and they have a situation where they have the shooters, they have Chris Paul, they have Danilo Gallinari, they have a lot of young and promising players on their roster, but they can acquire more through the draft if they trade Steven Adams and the other guys on this roster, or is they going to continue to go out there and compete and give it whatever they can give it and try to make a run and get that playoff spot locked up and continue to good stretch of time that they have been one of the more consistent organizations when it comes to winning games in the NBA, or is it they're going to have that mentality that we going to be mediocre, but we rather go into a rebuild mode? But to me, they waited too long, because as long as they got Chris Paul and them competing, they're going to go out there and try to win games. And the longer you keep that going, the worse your odds going to be at being worse. Because we know that they have a competitive roster. We know that they have a roster that can, do something special. I think we all have respect for this Oklahoma City roster going into the season, and they have proved that they was worth that respect because they have proved that they are a playoff caliber team. But as long as they keep this core together in Oklahoma, the highest chance of them getting a top 15 pick instead of a top 10 pick or a top 5 pick, because their record is not going to be as bad. But as long as they keep this team together as currently constructed, they're going to be able to compete and they're going to win games, which is the opposite of what you want to do when you're rebuilding. But I will say, with the type of talent that they have and the type of picks and youth they have, they can make another move to get another superstar or elite player when it comes up. Or do they want to trade these guys down? Trade these guys and rebuild and just focus on gaining as many assets as they can to get as many swings at getting a superstar in drafts, whether it's this year, next year, or the year after that, which either way they're set up. But I really want to see what they're going to do. Is we going to rebuild now, or is we going to continue to fight for a playoff spot? Either way, they're good because of the picks that they have had out of the trades of Russell Westbrook and Paul George. They still have a lot of trades, and they still have a competitive roster. So either way it go, they're good. It's just trying to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and what direction you want to go in. So that's the interesting thing about Oklahoma. Do they really have to trade Steven Adams? No, they don't. Do they need to trade Steven Adams? No, they don't, because of how the situation is. But if they want to, this is just another chance to get a guy off your books. This is another chance to get a young prospect in return, and this is going to help you rebuild. But then again, they don't need to right now because they're still competitive and they still have talent, and they still can make another move to upgrade their talent because of the picks and because of the young talent they have on this roster. So Sam Presti got his cake and eat it too right now. He can rebuild, or you don't have to. Either way, they can get more assets, or they can be competitive and be one of the best teams in the West and be in the playoffs again while still having assets to trade or build through the draft. So they winning right now, and you got to give credit to Sam Presti for the situation that they're in right now. But let me know what you guys think. Should the Hawks trade for Steven Adams? Do you think it makes sense? Do you think they need him? Do you think they should get their money and spend it on somebody else? Or do you think the center position should be a priority, since John Collins isn't a great rim protector and he does need some help on the interior, and the fact that they are one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA, and having him and Collins can fix that up just with them two alone. And they do have Alex Len and other guys that can back them up in the inside if one of them go down or they need a break. So the flexibility is good. And like I said, Atlanta do have the young wings like Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter and Herter. So they're not desperate for perimeter talent either. And obviously they still do have Trae Young, a guy that can put a lot of pressure on defenses and knock down threes and, make players around him get easy and better shots. But, they still developing these young guys and they got a bright future. We just got to see how they mold it and build it as the seasons and time goes on. And this year they show that they have a lot of potential. Next year we'll see how much they develop. But this year they have a season where it's lost. They're going to get another top 10 pick to go along their young core, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But I also want to see them progress and move on and get better and that's something that we have to see more or less next year. So let me know what you guys think. Like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies, I break down players, I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching.